Manual here. Okay, time for some more, maybe a deeper connection to a more vigorous breathing and training regimen that we usually do in Systema. Okay, so there's time obviously for subtle, and then there's time for a little bit more intensity. Sometimes the two extremes can teach us, right? So we can learn from soft skills, and we can also learn from hard things. So I'm gonna kind of show a little bit more of a breathing exertion and how to use breathing to work with maybe a little bit more intensity, okay? And how to, because what happens I find is as things get more intense, people forget about their breathing, right? Because it's important until there's something else to do, so to speak. But I like to kind of give students the tools to kind of, as things get intense, that you can still default back to keeping your breathing and making that the main focus of your training, okay? So let's start with that. So just a quick recap, we're always breathing in through the nose, then breathing out through the mouth. And what we want to do now is maybe use numbers, which are easy to remember, right? So you can kind of do numbers and try to stretch our breathing, okay? So try to stretch our inhale, stretch our exhale, but not with just like sitting, standing, walking, but actually with a little bit more, I guess, effort, okay? So let's start with something as simple as, it can be leg raise. I guess most people can do that. And then we'll kind of progress, and I'll show you how I would integrate this, this kind of intensity a little bit more, right? So let's start for now. So again, just lie comfortably on the ground, right? Whatever there, and find your breathing. So first you gotta find your breathing, I always say. So it's breathe in, breathe out, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And put your legs together. And what I'd like you to do is, as you breathe in, you lift up your legs, and as you breathe out, you put them down, okay? And the effort, you wanna make sure that the effort is in the right places. So just a little bit in the abs for now, a little bit in the top of my legs. I'm not activating my upper body. My upper body's quite relaxed, and it's coming up and coming down. Now, you can have a slight bend if your back bothers you. Some people like to put their hands under here. It's your choice. I mean, if you need, you can even bend the knees more, is fine. But I find the straighter, the better, I guess, for me. Anyway, so we're here. So we breathe in for one time, and we breathe out, we put it down, okay? We're gonna do that same thing, but now it's 2 leg raises up and down. So 2 times with breathing in, and then 2 times with exhaling, okay? So I'm gonna breathe in. I'm gonna keep breathing in. I'm gonna breathe out. Keep breathing out. And then I'm gonna take a little recovery, I guess, just to fix my breathing again. Now I'm going to do 3 and 3. So 3 leg raises breathing in, 3 leg raises breathing out. In for a second time, in for a third time, out 1, 2, 3. Good. Now, just a quick kind of explanation here. So the idea is that you equally distribute the breath amongst the numbers. So it's like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. When you look closely, you'll realize that you probably take most of the air in the first one, a little bit less in the second one, then you might even be holding some of your breath on the third one. You don't want that. What you want to do is equally distribute the breath. So as this goes on, you have to breathe in a little bit slower, and the same with the exhale, you have to breathe out slowly, right? So it gets really interesting at around 10. That's when, and then super interesting by 15, right? And it's just really letting the air come in subtle, not hammering it through, and then going through motion without breathing. Now, whatever number you get is fine. It can be 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is fine. And actually will vary day to day as well. So you want to keep that in mind. The idea here is that we're stretching our breathing and we're connecting it to a movement. and we want to equally distribute the breath. So if it's 8 that I can do, let's just say it's 8. I want to make sure that the first and the 8th breath are roughly the same. I mean, they might not be exact, but you know what I mean. You're at least paying attention to it. And this is important to know. Okay, it's not right or wrong. Don't strive for numbers kind of a thing. It's really, the beauty is in the awareness of the whole thing. Okay. So as we go on, it'll be hard for me to talk. Let's say when you go to 8 and 8, you might need a little bit more time before you start 9 again. The idea here is we want to work with our breath, but we don't want to send panic signals to our body so that it starts to freak out as to what's going on. You want to build in enough time in between those where you recover, but where you just breathe normally and recover yourself. And then so that you can actually have enough attention to pay attention to the numbers and the effort. So you don't just want to hammer through and just suffer. You want to have enough attention. So take the appropriate rest in between to make sure that you bring awareness to the next one that you're trying. Okay, so let's go to 4. Here we go with 4. Now out for 4. Rest and recover. Now we're going to do 5. Recover. Six. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Awesome. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to mention, when you're recovering, okay, when you're breathing, so there's a specific way to recover as well. Of course, you can just breathe, right? Now, it's interesting because in Toronto right now, where I'm at, it's really hot. Like it's like we're in a bit of a heat wave. So I can already feel the heat. I can already feel some sweat coming, even from very moderate exercise. It's just humid. That changes everything too as well. When I'm recovery breathing, it's like the first thing my breath wants is a big breath. And I want to give it that big breath. I don't want to say, no. So I give it the big breath. But what the key here that I find is that the first breath is big. And then the next one should be just a little bit less than that. Because what you want to do when you're recovery breathing is you want to bring your breath. You always want to remember, you want to get back to normal. So your normal breath. So you're at this point and you want to each breath slowly bring it down. There are times I see people and the next 3 breaths are even deeper or at the same depth. If they're like that, your body will start to panic. It starts, so what I like to do is practice. I don't know if the term is called parachute breathing, but think of a parachute. As it opens, it immediately starts to slow you down. So the moment the breath opens, the first breath is definitely the biggest because it's the one that you want. And then try to a little bit less, like a tiny bit. It doesn't have to be huge, and then for me, no matter what kind of exertion I do, no matter how hard I push myself, you know, heart rate, whatever it is, you want to be able between 5 and 8 breaths to be able to bring your breathing down to close to normal. Okay. And you can watch the biathlon guys that are training. They're, you know, they're doing cross country skiing, and then in a very short period of time, they bring their breathing and their heart rate down to the point where they can shoot accurately with their weapon. It's like the whole body is not like bouncing. They try to settle themselves. It's like that. You're trying to settle yourself. You're trying to bring yourself to this normal level. So if you think like that, it might help you, right? Because the biathlon guys, what they do with their heart rate and breathing in a short period of time to shoot accurately is definitely admirable. It's pretty impressive, and all athletes can do that. Hockey players do it to a degree. They get off the bench, and in a couple, you know, they bring their heart rate down. They get ready to go on for another shift. You know, they do quite a few shift changes more intensely, right? And when you think of hockey, it's quite intense bursts of speed and effort. Okay, so let's try a few more. Let's try to get closer to 10, right? And again, I'm recovering with kind of a parachute effect. So it's like a first breath is big, and then somewhere between 5 and 8, I want to get my breathing as close to normal as I can. Okay, and I'll try to kind of watch me do it, and you can kind of hopefully see it. Okay. Let's just kind of jump to like let's jump to like 8 right now. We'll skip one. So ready? Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's try 10 now. Skip one. Let's try 10. Here we go. Breathe in 1. Breathe out. Awesome. I don't know if hopefully that came across on the video where you saw my first breath being big, and then less and less and less and less until it took me about, I think, 6 or so to get close, right? It's not exact, it's just on the map, as they say, right? We're not hyperventilating or look like we're struggling, right? So a couple of things that are happening for me when I start to, you know, when I, you know, do a lot, and you're basically with one inhale doing 10 or 15 or 20, whatever you can do, and then the exhale, the inhale will be harder. The exhale will be a little bit more relaxation. I have to struggle at the beginning to get like at the end, the inhale gets tougher. On the exhale, I find the beginning is the hardest part. And if you saw it in my cheeks, but when I've been breathing in for 10 and I finally get a chance to breathe out, I want to breathe out a lot. And sometimes a lot sneaks out. And what I try to do is with my lips is like, so it's like I allow the air to come out from because it's, it's so bottled up, right? I just want it to come out now. So it wants to almost pop out of my neck. But what I can control is the shape of the hole of my mouth. So, so I can control the opening. So I can have a small hole where the cheeks puff out, but so the air didn't exactly leave yet. And I can control the amount of air and the speed at which I want it to leave by the shape of, or how much space I have in the lips. So that's another sneaky way of kind of regulating how much air comes out all at once. Like you take it from here into your cheeks and then let it out slowly through your lips. That sometimes, depending on the deeper level. So at the beginning, it's the hardest for exhale. At the end, not so much. The end is much more difficult on the inhale. Getting in, air at like 10, 12, 15 is tougher. And as I inhale, it's like I'm trying to find hidden spaces. So first, of course, the chest starts to fill up, but then I have like the side of the ribs and my back, and I try to kind of allow the inhale to pressurize my lungs. So I try to think of the front, side, back, and down. So there's lots of space in there to get more air in, right? And then when I get to the top, I like to progressively bring myself down. Okay, I like to work my way down back to the very basic, which is one. So if I'm doing a leg raise, one leg raise in, one leg raise out. So I go up as high as I can, and then I go down. It's kind of like a scale, right? I just climb it up. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is fine. You can do it like that. It's a little bit long. There's not much of a difference between like 5 and 6. So sometimes I like to add, like I do it in 2. So it's like I do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And you can kind of see a little bit of a difference with the 2, with skipping every other number, but I'll leave it up to you to try it, okay? Just for the sake of time, and so understand we've gone up to 10 and you'd want to work your way down to 10. It can be in 2s or 1s, whatever you feel. I'm going to work my way down now from 10 with a push-up. So similar, I could do it on the way up with the push-up, or I could do it on the way down, but we've gone up with leg raises. Let's go down with push-ups, okay? Now, push-ups are, depending on the person, hard or easy. You can definitely do them from your knees. And if it's even still challenging from your knees, you can do it on a wall. Like I have a big wall behind me. You can just lean on a 45-degree and do push-ups, okay? Ideally, I'm not going to go into technicals about push-up, but you want to not involve the shoulders as much. I see a lot of people shoulder heavy on the push-up. You want the push-up to always come from the body. So the push-up is coming from the chest, the back, like it's more from the body, less from elevated shoulders, okay? So let's start with that. We'll start from the top. So we're going to start with 10 push-ups breathing in, 10 push-ups breathing out. I'll do it from my knees. I can do it standing. It's not a problem, but just I think for most people, I think the knees is a good place to start, because this is less of a physical exercise and more of a breathing physical exercise. So I want the focus to be more in the middle. And it also allows you to do maybe more push-ups so that you can go deeper into the breathing. So we want to find a better balance. I do want to do push-ups, but I also want to work on my breathing. So it's kind of that compromise when you do them on your knees. If it's a physical thing you're looking for, obviously just do a regular full push-up. If you're trying to integrate your breathing, from the knees is probably just going to be fine. Okay, so let's start that, and I'll kind of try to talk you through it if I can. I'll do it kind of sideways so you kind of see what I mean, right? So relax my shoulders, right? And I'm going to start from the bottom. Might probably be the best spot to start from, right? So here we go. So breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. 8 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 'Hands beside you. 6 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4. Breathe in. 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. Inhale. 1, 2. Exhale. 1, 2. Good. So, interesting. Doing it down is definitely easier because you start to see it from both ways, right? Like as you ramp up, your body starts to feel okay. It's more and more and more and more. But knowing that you're at the top coming down is a different effort, right? It's almost like you get lazy, like towards the end, like there's only a few left. You're like, okay, I'll just do 2. The real trick is not so much the number, but that you make an appropriate calculation. So if it's 2, and I have this much air, that it's divided in half. If I have this much air and it's 4, it's divided in 4. So the focus is not just, well, get it done. So there's the 2 minds that we have at play here that we need to consider when we're exercising. There is the subconscious, which is just, no thinking, it's just doing. The subconscious, its main goal is to obviously not think. It saves valuable mental energy, which is consumes, I mean, everybody has different opinions, but it, can consume anywhere between 40, maybe even 50% of the energy that we use. So if I need 3,000 calories a day, is 1,500 go to just mental energy? Probably close to that. The human brain takes up a lot of energy. And we feel that, right? Like I've worked in labor jobs, like construction jobs, and I would work all day. Physically, I was tired, but mentally, I would come home and I would not be tired at all. Whereas I worked in an office where physically I wasn't tired, but mentally I was completely drained. And then that also affected my body, because when you're mentally drained, the body feels that too. So, but if we don't want a subconscious response, so if I don't want to go subconscious, I need to bring myself conscious awareness. That can only happen with what I tell myself. I have to have good conversations with myself. I had to bring myself in the present moment, right? So I'm one of those guys, I'm just saying, if I was one of those guys that just eats food without thinking, I just shove whatever's in my mouth and just eat as fast as I can. And eating becomes a subconscious thing, which it actually is for quite a few people. For you to bring conscious awareness, that requires you to talk to yourself with words and change and bring more attention back to what you're doing. So again, these are not my opinions. This is known fact. A subconscious is great for lots of things in our life, but it's not good for everything. If I really want to connect breathing and movement and I want some great detail there, maybe I start, but then later my body wants to take over. And really, you got to be so sneaky, the subconscious. It's been evolving for thousands of years for us, and it always wants to hijack our conscious mind and say, don't worry, I got this. You've done this 5 times. It's a routine. Don't think about it. Let me do it. Very much like driving. Okay. It really wants to take over. For you to bring conscious awareness to your driving, think of how hard that would be, especially because it's completely subconscious for most of us. To bring awareness to our driving will require a good verbal words that we say to ourselves to bring us back to the conscious. Okay. So as I'm doing this, and as you're doing this, pay attention to the numbers and don't let it go subconscious. Okay. So we did leg raises, we did push-ups. There's really an endless array of actually anything that you do, you can apply this to. So if some guy likes to go to the gym and do, bicep curls, or chin-ups or whatever they like to do, you can say, okay, 5 chin-ups breathing in, 5 chin-ups breathing out, or curls, like anything where there is walking, running, 100% you can do that. And those are definitely options, both with running and with walking, right? And you can even find a compromise where it's like a fast walk. I don't know, all those are fine. The idea here is that you equally divide the breathing amongst the number that you have, okay? We'll do it with, just for the sake of space, I'm gonna do, instead of running or walking on the spot, I'm gonna kind of do jumping jacks, okay? And again, there's burpees, there's all kinds of physical exercises that you can do. And there's no doubt that you could do it with a stopwatch, or you can do it with like a timer. If you want to, set a timer for 10 seconds just to go off, like some of those stopwatches have a timer where you can just, and just do that. But I like to count my movements. The idea here is that I take movement patterns, like basic movement patterns, like walking, running, push-up, squats, leg raises, these kind of fundamental ways we move, and then put a number to it and try to match the breathing. That's this will stretch my breathing and connect my breathing a little bit better to what I'm doing, rather than just breathing and lying and sitting down on the ground. Okay, so let's try it with jumping jacks, and then we'll try it with squats as well, because squats are really good for you. Big fan of them. You don't need a lot of weight. You don't even need any weight. You just use your body weight to do squats, but very important to get that a good deep squat. That's where I find most people go wrong. They squat, but you really want to squat as deep as you can. A lot of health for the knees in that process. But we'll start with jumping jacks, just as kind of like an effort. And I don't want you to see it as like a cardio, because your cardio is just you're basically your heart, and we're doing that like by doing these long inhales, long exhales. Our heart is working hard. So it's been cardio from whether you do jumping jacks or push-ups, it's the same thing. Okay, so let's stand up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so stay nice and straight. Everything is good. So we're going to do 2 jumping jacks breathing in, 2 jumping jacks breathing out. It wasn't very difficult, so it won't take me long to recover. 4 and 4. First breath is going to be big. Next one a little bit less. Six and 6 now. Eight and 8. Ten and 10. Good. Now, so what you'll notice is you'll start to see like your head popping and stuff, and it's very common, especially as you go deeper and deeper and deeper. The breathing, as you start to do this deeper breathing, try not to channel the breathing to your head or to your brain, as they say, but you want to focus on your breathing going towards your body, less into your brain. When you start to see your head bobbing. Now, the other thing is there's a relation between the chin and the chest, so that relation. The moment you start to put your head down, it's like it's heavy. You know, it's like you feel like your head is heavy, like tiredness of some sort. You want to pay attention to that relationship, and you know, I won't go deeper into it. It's a whole deeper explanation. But if you keep it as level as you can, like not at a 90-degree angle, it's better. It's better for breathing. It also doesn't activate. It doesn't activate the brain as much. As you stay more focused when you're looking straight. So try not to let your head dip or go too high up, or just straight in the middle. Okay. You might find that you can do more with jumping jacks, because it's a little bit more of a momentum. Like you kind of get into like a routine. So I find I can do many more jumping jacks, or even if I'm running, I can do more than I could physical exercises, right? Yeah, it was interesting when I was there. I found some, you know, jumping jacks is different than other stuff. So a little bit easier, but at the same time, also because the arms are coming over the head, I definitely feel how my heart had to work harder. So with running, the arms are a little bit lower, so they're below the heart rate. So you can actually feel that there's a difference. When the hands are over, definitely the heart has to work harder to get the blood up. So it definitely felt that even with 10, right? And again, 10 is kind of like the beginning of when it gets interesting. Like I understand some of you might be struggling with 1 to 5 now and things like that, or below 10, but your body will respond quite quickly. You'll get to higher numbers with a little bit more practice. And it gets, like I said, between 10 and 15 and 10 and 20 is some real interesting, challenging breath work. Okay, so let's try it with squats now. So we'll work our way down. So we'll start with 10 squats in, 10 squats up. And again, as low as you can, as deep as you can go is better. Now, I can go quite deep. I've had some knee injuries from 30 years ago, right? And I've also recently, because I've healed my knees quite good, and I'm trying to promote this with people as well, is to sit deeper in their squat, but some people have a difficult time. So let me show you how I do it, because I think this is important for people to see, right? Because sometimes I'll show you where I start, like not where I started, but where you have to commit to yourself. If you say, okay, this is a better way of doing a squat, but I can't do it, then you need to help yourself get there, right? The 2 ways of helping yourself with the squat is to either elevate your heels a little bit, like an inch or two, which gives you a little bit more range to sit deeper, which is definitely more beneficial than not, okay? The other way is to assist yourself a little bit. So I'm gonna just see if I can turn my computer here. There's like a pole. You just see this pole here, and I'll kind of explain it to you, right? So at home, you can just do this with like a door. You know, you open a door and then grab the handles on either side, like the doorknobs. Or if you have like a pole like this, and what I'm doing is I'm just gonna hold it, not just lightly. And what I want to do is sit deeper into the squat, right? And just a little bit of assistance here. So this way I can go down deeper, right? So I'll do this because this is an important thing for people to see. It's better to do them like this, where you're sitting deeper into that squat. And then soon you won't need this. But for now, everybody can see it so they can understand how I managed to kind of do that. So here we go. So comfortable, right? Both breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, halfway, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe out. Cover. Okay. 8 and 8. Recover. Six and 6. Recover. 4 and 4. Now 2 and 2. So, explain to you. So there, for some reason, on the 4 and 4, I held my breath a little bit, and it was much harder. I didn't realize I was just focusing on going deep. For myself, my right knee, like I said, 30 years ago, I screwed it up in a bad rugby game, and it always it's pretty messed up. Now it's fine. I can do everything, but I really love opening it up. I can really feel it benefits when I open it. So I was a little bit more focused on that, held my breath a little bit, and it made 4 and 4 feel like 10 and 10. And so I had to actually recover, breathe a little bit more. And that's okay. Like I want you guys to understand that it's much like, like when you work on different aspects, like let's say, psychological or mental or spiritual training as well. Like, there's times where maybe trying to say a nice prayer, but we get distracted. It happens, right? Don't beat yourself up over it. It's like you're trying to focus on breathing, but you got distracted with something else that felt good or something. It's okay. Just bring yourself back. And that's why I'm a big advocate of that recovery breathing, to make sure you no matter what happens, you always work with that, and then don't go to the next one until you fully recover. Yeah, so you've got push-ups, leg raises, squats. You also have, and the jumping jacks too. So you don't need a lot of space. You can do this in a small condo or apartment. You don't need to go outside for a big run, but you could easily do it with running. You could easily do it with walking. All that stuff is definitely possible, right? Any physical activity you're doing, if you integrate your breathing at least a little bit, you'll see huge benefits, okay? And what this does is it stretches your breathing. You're trying to get to 10 and onward on the inhale, and then 10 on the exhale, and try to divide the breath equally into equal portions. It's not, if I'm doing 10, all my inhale, most of my inhales at the 5, and then there's very little left for the remaining 5. It's equally distributed, okay? That's the real key. And just find the number that before that happens. So let's say 6 is my number, then that's where I stay. Maybe, and next day or next week, I try again and try to go a little bit deeper, but equally dividing everything. Yeah, I hope that helps. It's a definitely a little bit more intense breath and exercise movement. Definitely do it. For some of you, I forgot to mention, for some of you, it's like cycling. I would do it often with when I cycle, as I pedal, I would count the pedals, right? So 20 pedals breathing in, 20 pedals breathing out. And I always found it's a wonderful way of warming up. Also, it helps you keep focused on breathing even when you're riding, because a lot of people do hold their breath, especially through the hills. They tend to hold their breath and they get pretty winded quick. Anyway, I hope this helps. A little bit more intense breathing stuff, a little bit more I would call it an intermediate level still. There's more intense breath training that we can do, but definitely an intermediate and a step up for some of the stuff I've shown. So I hope you guys enjoyed everything, and I will see you next week with some more breath training. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.